Next up, Heidi, a dear friend, very talented lady, great storyteller, Heidi Galore. Thank you.
Quite an intro, thank you. Talented, all right. I can't see anybody, but hello, hi. Hi. I'm Heidi Galore. And so many of you may not have suspected, but in the summer of 2001, I was a police officer in a little county called Arlington, Virginia, and right outside Washington, D.C. And it was my rookie year. I didn't have a baseball card or anything, but it was my rookie year. And I was pretty determined to do the right things and just be a good cop. And it was kind of hard because people really didn't take me seriously. I looked somewhat like I do now, but with some lesbian glasses and same hair, really, and a vest that made me look kind of like a barrel-chested 12-year-old boy. So it was like yeah. So when I pulled people over, they really didn't really take me seriously. But anyway, so this one day I was driving around in my official cruiser, being official, and I heard a call on the radio, and it was like, any unit in the area of Glebe Road and Columbia Pike, which is a very busy business area with a lot of people, and it wasn't my normal area, and it's all very Spanish-speaking, like a huge Salvadorian population is down there, so I was actually right around the corner, and I had just gotten gas in my cruiser, and I was deciding where to get coffee. So, busy day. And actually I tore my rotator cuff like the day before, trying to reach for my coffee. So, seriously, I did. But anyway, so I was deciding where to get my coffee and how I would place it in my cruiser when this call came out, and I was right around the corner. I'm like, oh, it's like shit. I'm like right here. All right, so we're a single person vehicle, so it's just me, and then anybody else in the county, which is very small, so they could be like 20 minutes away or like 2 minutes away. So if I needed backup, they would be there. But I was still kind of worried. I was new, so I get to the call. I pull up, and I don't know if you guys know this, but when you're a cop, like you're supposed to be aggressive. I was a cheerleader. That's what it was, right? So I aggressively pulled up to the scene in my car, and I like drove up on the sidewalk, and I was like, I stopped right there, and I was like, looking around for like, what's the call? The call was a parking aide had just put a boot on someone's car, and he had come out, and he was like, he was pissed about it. So he was chasing her around the vehicle with an unknown weapon, keyword. So weapon, I hear that, and I'm like, all right, fuck, like I might need to pull my gun, which is right here. And my, I was going to explain my belt. Basically, my gun is here, my radio is here to balance the weight, and then I have an asp. It's a collapsible baton. It's like, you whip it out and you like look really fierce, and then my handcuffs. My second handcuffs. My dirty handcuffs, these are my clean ones. And then, a bunch of other stuff, pepper spray, extra magazine, 20 pounds of basically weight on your hips. So I screech up there and I see this guy, basically he's chasing this woman around a car. And he's holding like something in his hand. I can't see it for anything. I'm looking, and he's like standing behind another car. So as I pull up, I see him, and I see her running, and she works for the county. It's a felony if he assaults her. So it's kind of a big deal. It's assault in progress. So Delta 24, I'm out. Meaning like, my name's Heidi, Delta 24, and I'm here on the scene. So I jump out of my car and I hitch my belt up, and I'm like, what's going on? And she runs over to me, and she runs past me, and she's like, hey man, pointing to this guy, and I'm like, I'm trying to look aggressive. And so I see him, and he stops, and he's just kind of like screaming at her, and she's, she's already past me, and I'm realizing now that I have to yell to him, And I'm also realizing he's speaking Spanish, and I had just taken this really great class called Survival Spanish that the police department like, gives you for free. And I had taken Spanish in high school. I lived, all over the place, and but I just don't really ever use it. So, this is my chance. I was, excited. So I'm yelling at him. I'm like, in English, I'm just like screaming at him. It's my first instinct. Stop, right there. Don't move any closer to me or I'll have to do something else. I don't, besides yell. So he was like still running towards me, and I realized, okay, I need to I need to yell in Spanish. So I'm like, Spanish. Also, I should say, my voice goes up like really high when I get like, when I'm yelling. So I'm yelling, when I start to yell, it's normal. And then when I get really stressed, apparently I get like shrill. So, this is for later. So I'm yelling at him, I'm like, stop, stop right there. And he's like, still coming towards me, like slowly. He stopped, but he's like, his hand is like right here. And I'm like, all right, this is either a gun or something. So I'm like, hands are on my gun, and I've unsnapped the holster, which is like a subtly aggressive move, And I'm like hoping he'll see, like, hey, I've just clicked my button, like, you shouldn't move anymore, like, stop moving. He's like focused on her, and I'm, in his way. So, all right, let me do this. So I was like, alto, which is so, like, stop is a better word. Alto, like, alto. So I was like, alto. And he just, he kept coming. So, I'm getting really stressed, and I'm thinking, okay, he's coming closer to me. There's a whole like thing in my head where they said if he has a knife in the academy, they tell you if they have a knife, you should never get within 21 feet, 21 exactly, of somebody, because it takes them less than 3 seconds to jump those 21 feet and stab you with a knife. So I was like, all right, well, he's getting really close. I've got to do something. If it's a knife, I'm dead. So my vest, barrel, my vest does not stop a knife. It's, it's pointy, stabby, so it'll kill me. And I don't want to die. So I was like, all right. So I pull my gun, I have it out, and I'm like, all right, I'm gonna shoot this guy, but I need to do something. So I pull it out. I'm like, alto. Seriously, like alto, man. He didn't stop, and I realized he's not focused on me. He's not listening to anything I have to say, and I need to do something now. So I was like, all right, let me direct him to do something. And in survival Spanish, they tell you you ask yes or no questions, or you direct someone to do something. That way you don't have to listen to a lot of Spanish that you're not going to know. So you hear yes or no as an answer, or you tell someone what to do, like get on the floor, or put your hands on your head, or, put your gun on the ground, or something like that. And, I had problems with conjugating verbs and that kind of thing, but I was doing pretty good in this class, and so I screamed at the top of my lungs. I'm at that moment where I'm like, I need to do something right now. So I'm shaking, and I'm putting my gun, and like, top of my lungs, in the middle of a business area of Arlington, Virginia, Glebe Road and Columbia Pike. I scream in a very shrill, feminine voice, which is not what I was trying to conjure. And that doesn't mean what I thought it meant. And he like stops, and he's like, where are my hands supposed to go? Like, his face, I could see him stop. And the woman behind me drops to the ground and just starts like laughing, and she was like in fear of her life, and now she's still laughing, and I'm like, what did I say? And then I realized, like, bio. I just said, put your hands on your horse. And cabeza is the head, and that's what I was trying to tell him. And I also said it so shrilly that I think dogs were coming from everywhere else too. So I was like, and everyone also was stopping. This is like a strip mall area. They all stopped and they're staring at me. I have a gun drawn, and I'm screaming at this guy to put his hands on his horse, and there's no horse anywhere in sight. So. But anyway, then he stopped. So he stopped. I was like, all right, good. That was what I wanted to do. And he's like, all right. I was like, shut up. Kick him. And then I put him in handcuffs, the dirty ones, and take him away. So that was my, one of my rookie mistakes. Not very, I made a few, but not too many.